Recording. All right, so got our last weekly chat here. Just Stuart this week. Loretta is MIA, but I'm sure she'll turn up on Thursday or whenever. She's always great to have on the chats. As are you, Stuart. Always good to have you guys both here asking questions, so it's always good fun. First up, just start nice and simple. Do you have any questions from anything throughout the whole time that you wanted to go off on? I know you're pretty diligent with everything you're doing, so you're pretty well on top of everything. I know that, but I thought I'd ask anyway.
Yeah, well, I feel like I am. There are a few questions I've got about onboarding.
Yep.
I want to get a better process around onboarding, um, and also when I had my open week, I didn't really schedule a time to talk with people to try and make that sale.
Yep.
Um, and so a lot of people didn't turn up on the last day, probably because they thought that was what was going to happen, and then I just lost track of them.
Yeah.
So I guess trying to come up with a better process for that. That's probably the two things that I feel like I need a bit of work with.
All right. Easy. So we'll start with that then. So at the moment, in regards to onboarding, do you have do you do anything? What's your sort of current process?
Um, Really, all I've done so far is just the call. Obviously, like after the sale,
Yeah.
it's really just uh, adding them to the VIP group, and
Okay.
then the initial thing about come in for your measurements and um, like come in a bit early on your first session and doing the get to know you game and
Yeah.
things like that. I'd like to have a bit more of a one-on-one
Setup.
chat with them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's just a matter of like scheduling it. So if you use Calendly, um,
Yeah.
so Calendly, you could schedule, you could do like block out like, like, I don't know, when you're predominantly mornings or what's your, oh, you do 11 sessions a
I've got
week, don't you?
I've got 9:30 and 9:30 a.m. 5:30 p.m. at the
So
moment.
what I would do for you, I would go, okay, well, choose two times, like a morning and an evening. So like for both your clients, and go, okay, well, I'm going to block out, I don't know how many clients you get at each session, right? But go, okay, I'm going to block out 2 hours at this time and 2 hours at that time. Book in your whatever it is, half hour time, 15-minute time, whatever it is you want to do. Sync it through Calendly and give everyone that option if that's how you want to do it. The easiest way is to batch it like that.
Yep.
So if you want to do those sort of things, that way you can have that individual conversation with people. Um,
Yep.
the next bit would be, the next thing is you could do things like you're already getting in the sequence of using Alicia's stuff, but you could do things like when they first sign up, you could give them like, like an email rundown of what to expect over the next 10 weeks of your challenge if you've already got it all scheduled. It's like, hey guys, here's the email of what to expect. It could be the 12-week breakdown or 10-week breakdown. It could be like a little bit of extra information here and there. It could be book your time for your one-on-one chat. You might do that twice in the challenge. Any other relevant information you might have there. So you could do that as well.
Yep.
Bear with me one second. Yeah, you could do that as well. So that's another option. Obviously, just we were pretty old school, right? So we were pretty old school in regards to just having like a spreadsheet and just doing it manually, just ticking them off manually, putting a color, tick it off, boom, boom, boom. But
Yep.
from my understanding, if you're using things like the PT Minder or any of those things, half of that stuff can become automated. So if
Yep.
they don't turn up to the session, they get an automated message of like not turning up, et cetera, et cetera. And you're not using any of those things at the moment.
No.
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 Look,
I'm just following them up through the group because at the moment I don't have a huge number of people. So
yeah, look, I mean, we didn't either. Like, we didn't do it that either. Like, we didn't use those options either. But if they're $40, $50 a month, maybe it does save you 2 hours a week. Maybe it saves you 2 hours every week. And at $10 a week, it's potentially worth it. I think
yeah.
I think for me, the biggest takeaway from discussing those things last week with Jake was the fact that you've got their pre-exercise screener on there, and the fact that you've got like their emergency contact details on there. I think that's a big thing, because not that you ever want or need to, or what I mean, like with adults especially, it's, if there's an emergency, you're not calling their next to, you're calling the ambulance. You know what I mean? But I think some of that information to have on hand, like on your phone right there, if something happens, you can quickly go, shit, I don't know, like, what is it? Okay, sweet. I know they're anaphylactic, or I know that, I mean, you're most likely going to know that stuff beforehand, but that was really important. I thought that was a really good one. That I was like, oh, that alone is a pretty, and the fact that you have all those pre-exercise screeners already like preloaded in and all that sort of stuff, I think that's a valuable thing for, a couple of bucks a week, especially if you start getting more numbers, because it's just an easier process. Someone signs up, send them the link or whatever it is, done. They just tick it off, boom, boom, boom. You've always got it easy, done. You don't need to go, okay, I'll email it to you, or here it is, I'll hand it to you in person, or you could do it over the phone, I suppose, in the consultation. But I think it's a worthwhile thing as well, which could help some of those onboarding strategies as well. And I think, as I said, a lot of those things you can set up like automated messaging in regards to if they haven't turned up or if they don't check in and stuff like that, which can help a few of those strategies. Then the next one for the sales. So I assume the people who turned up through the week, you'd been touching base with them pretty regularly.
Yeah.
Just make the call. Just like if you can get them on the phone, because I think if they don't want to sign up, they don't want to sign up. There's not much, like it is what it is sort of thing. But realistically, if you've, had discussions with them, like how are you enjoying it, blah, 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 and they're enjoying it and they don't come on the Friday, you could go, they're not coming on the Friday because they know they're going to get sold to or whatever. Or you could just give them the call anyway. Say, hey, look, I missed you on Friday. Would have, really enjoyed having you here for the week. Just wanted to let you know, this is what we've got. If you wanted to continue, whatever it is, it's the last 4 weeks of the challenge or last 5 weeks of the challenge, $50 a week, everything you get here. You're already in the VIP group, continue it on. And, and then maybe if they sign up, I don't know if you do if you do a typical little gift or something like that, if they've signed up, plus if you sign up, you get your free yoga mat or whatever it is that you may have been doing from the beginning anyway.
Yeah.
So I think just chase them like a lead, like you would a lead. And even the 2 or 3 calls.
Yeah. And after the week, they're sort of sold or not anyway, aren't they? So it's not like, it's
but
not
even
like having,
even if they're not sold, like even if they might be on the fence, but what gets them over the line is the phone call. If they're not sold, they probably wouldn't have come to 3 or 4 sessions. If they're not sold, they probably would come to 1 and no others, or not come to any. But if they've come to multiple sessions, there's a good chance they're interested. And it's just a matter of having that conversation with them. That's how I would approach that. But so the onboarding, it's realistically just finding like a good sequence and a good like way of laying things out. And that was the other thing I was going to say as well with like Alicia Strieger's thing. Her way of coming out with content was so simple, right? Like that was a gold mine. All you need to do is come up with like a simple, like easy to follow thing for your onboarding that you can have for like, per person as well. So it might just be as simple as like, this is the, and it's just a copy and paste. I don't know if you send messages from your computer, send the message from your computer, boom, done, copy paste, boom, done, copy paste. You can do all that stuff. It's just a matter of batching things. That's the most important thing here is batching things. And then having like a simple to follow sequence. Because realistically, if you've got a simple to follow sequence and you start getting busier, you either can go into like the PT Minder stuff and all that sort of stuff. But realistically, you can also go into like a VA sort of situation where you can set this stuff up to be done handled externally. If you've got like a simple sequence that you follow.
It might be coming up with a few emails in Active Campaign that it just basically automates like a nurturing sequence. Because
exactly.
One thing I found was that one girl signed up really early, like 2.5 weeks before, and then I didn't really have much contact with her between then and there. And it didn't really occur to me until it was getting close to the end. I was like, oh shit, I probably should have been in contact with her a few times. And,
well, but now that you've got Alicia Strieger's stuff, she'll get those emails. what I would potentially do is with some of her stuff, I'd look into it and go like, okay, well, to be honest, you could send that to you send that to all of your people. Like realistically, if you're sending that to someone who's signed up, they're probably going to look at it and go, this is really cool. I got 2 of these emails a week. That's awesome. And then you could also, like you said, you can also set up like that sort of sequence throughout the 12 weeks anyway. And you could do things like email, like in that week 4 is your email, your priority pass, tell them about it, bring a friend week. Love having you at training all the time, all this sort of stuff for your members, right? I'd love to grow this business. I'd love to, blah, 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 spiel about, your experience and why you're passionate about what you do. And it'll be great for you to bring some people down. That could all be done like email sequence, and then you could have that done like as a 12-week sequence that just repeats over and over again, right? And then you could even, if you wanted to get super fancy, you could even build something similar through Messenger, and that way you sort of, and I'd even build in there things like getting reviews as well. Like come week 9 or week 8 or whatever, it's like, hey guys, we're getting towards the end of our challenge. Love to hear your feedback, and you could do it either as like you could do it as like a feedback thing for yourself personally, or you could just go straight into like, hey, like, I'd love to hear your feedback. Would love to get a review on Facebook from you, and do what we do and say like, here's like a sample, blah 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 blah. Who I am, like have them answer those sort of questions, and then sort of guide them through that sequence.
Yeah.
It's all about, as a lot of this stuff's about like trying to make it as easy as possible.
Yeah, that's something that I'm going to be doing next week, sending out something about coming towards the end of it, give me a bit of a review. I'm going to try and ask for a Facebook one and a Google one.
Yep. Yeah, well, that's something we're starting to do ourselves now. We're starting to try and get people to do some Google ones for us, because we've not done that much. But it's funny when we look at our competitors, like you look at them and they've got like none. So like we're sort of ahead of the game a little bit in that respect still. But we're trying to get some Google ones ourselves. But so that's, look, I mean, you're on the right path. How long? When do you bounce into your next challenge? Are you doing like the school holidays or?
Missed that. Sorry, it cut out.
When are you going into your next challenge?
There's 2 weeks after this week in this one, and then we're going straight into the next one. So it's
the very next week.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice. Okay, so are you in the middle of running ads again, or about?
That's going to kick out on next week.
Beautiful, nice.
But I've put something in on the community page already. I've got something on the business page, and I actually put a poll up on my VIP group last night. Just said, here's the price. Like I gave them a bit of a discount for re-signing if you're going to re-sign. Reminder of what's involved, what you get extra, and all that sort of thing. And I put a poll in: are you going to re-sign? Yes, no, undecided, and yes. So most of them have said yes. So I already know who I've got to work on and who's almost a sure thing, really.
Yeah. Well, I remember going to one presentation and they spoke about like where you make the most of your business is who you've got to work on. So identifying, going like, you make the biggest gains by working on those fringe people. There's always going to be people who are like diehards. There's always going to be people who are like, as much effort you put in, like you're not going to get it back out of them. And then there's that middle crunch of people that if it just takes that little bit to get them over the line. And so there was like some metrics that they discovered or they used to try and identify these people. So it was something like, from memory, it was something like if they said they wanted to come in 3 times a week and they weren't coming in consistently within like one time of that, they were getting followed up really, really consistently and like getting chatted to really consistently throughout the thing to try and get them over the line. And see, they're some of the people that, like, not that you advertise that you do one-on-one consults or chats or discussions, but maybe they're some of the people that you can go, hey, look, I'm going to put in some extra goal setting stuff at the moment. Would you like to have a chat with me about some goals? And these people who are, they're coming to once a week, but they said they wanted to come to 3, or, they're those borderline people. They're the ones that you want to work on because they're the ones that you can make the most gains from.
Yep.
And try and turn them into those, those like just diehard people. It's good though. That's good that you're starting to identify some of that stuff as well.
Yeah.
And then, okay, cool. So that's starting to run out then next week. So it'll be interesting to see how you go this time through, you know, like, because you've done the hard yards through winter now. So it's
Yeah.
going to be interesting to see how it rolls out for you coming into the next one. And then you feel confident through everything that you've done?
Yeah, I'm still a little bit not 100% confident on the sales side of things, but
It's
just got to
persist.
harden up a bit and make the calls.
It's just persisting. Yeah. Look, I'm the same. I'm personally the same. I find it hard, you know. I
Yeah,
and that's just being honest. I find it hard as well. So like, it's, you know, you're not alone there. I think Jono's a unique character, and there's some people who just, you know, Jono's a unique character that he just like blinkers on, and, you know, it doesn't affect him. Doesn't, you know, like. But I'm the same. Like, I find it hard calling, and, you know, like, they don't answer. Like, and I don't. It's not that I take it personally, but it's just like, you know, it's I find it tough to go through 10 phone calls when no one answers. You know, like, I find it draining.
yeah,
So I
yeah.
get you.
That's. I feel like I'm drained, and then I get the one call where someone answers, and I'm already like down,
Yeah.
and I'm not very effective. But I
Yes.
just got to try and be switched on every time, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just practice.
What I try to do when I do it is I try and, like, I talk about batching things. I try and go, all right, I'm going to try and go for an hour straight, you know, like, and just go bomb, bomb, bomb. And if no one answers in that hour, that's fine. Then I'll go off and do something for half an hour and just get away from it. And then I'll come back and because I find I can't concentrate very well. Um, you know, and it may even be shorter than an hour sometimes. You know, like, I might just go, look, I'm going to try and bust through, you know, for 30 minutes. And if someone answers, there's 30 minutes gone straight away. And then you just keep going, right? Because you get on a bit of a roll. But if you go for 30 minutes and you've made 15 phone calls and no one's answered, sometimes I'm like, I need a break. And so I'll go off and do something else and just, like, clear my mind a little bit, have a coffee, go for a walk, come back, hit it again afterwards. That's what I do personally. It's probably not an ideal strategy. It's a bit of a procrastination strategy maybe, but I find it at least keeps me a little bit more fresh.
Yeah.
You know, when I've had to do longer days on the phone.
I've got
Yeah,
to work. I've got 170 on my list now. That's before I advertise. So I've got to sort of try and batch them out, I guess, and do a number of them each day.
yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
the thing is, as Jono would say, is the more calls you make, the more sales you make. You know,
Yeah.
you know, and it gets to a point with those people. For example, it'll get to a point with those people where your list might be 300. You know, maybe even after this round of ads. You know, you might have a list of 300. You could call them all beforehand, but it gets to a point where you need to sort of manage that a little bit and go, like, okay, well, that's where your emails come in handy. That's where things like the messenger bot comes in handy. And that's where things like even using the messenger bot of, like, you know, booking a time to call, you know, like, you can even do like that sort of conversation of try and find out if they're somewhat warm before you even make those calls.
Mm.
So there are a few strategies that you can do with that as your list builds, you know, because, you know, 100 people is sort of manageable, but if you build up 2 challenges from now, that could be 300-400 people, you know, and
Yeah.
it's not really I mean, it's not that it's not an effective strategy to call 400 people, but that's a that's a time consuming endeavor, you know. And the question is whether or not there's other ways that you can sort of get the start conversation with those people, you know.
Yep.
And you might just go, look, I'm going to call the ones that applied last round and didn't come through. You might just go, like, you might even have them on, you know, like, on your list. You might even have them tagged of, like, spoke with, seemed keen but didn't commit, and, you know, like, that's the one I want to chat to again. Or you know, you have the ones that, like, no, I'm not interested. Then maybe you go, like, I'm not going to call them, but they'll get their emails anyway. They'll get their message anyway, you know. So there's little things you can do to try and tidy that up in the long run as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah. And you know, you can see the people that have liked your stuff consistently on social media too that aren't in the challenge, and the people inactive campaign that are consistently opening the emails.
Exactly. So you start with that sort of stuff. Exactly right. So you sort of go like, all right, these are the ones that I want to start with.
Yep.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Are you this week's content supposed to be working on the party? Are you putting anything together for the end of your challenge?
Yeah, I've got something organised at just a little like I don't know. They do like pizza and wraps and stuff, and they
Yeah.
do like platters for corporate functions and stuff.
Okay.
So I'm just going to get them to do something like that for us.
And they're coming in like after the session for that, or are you going on a Saturday?
We're going to go. It's actually just across the road from where we do
Beautiful.
boot camp, and everyone loves the food there. So they've got like a little area out the side. We'll just do it there, and I'm going to put some certificates together and just get them printed out at Officeworks and stuff. And
easy.
Work through that.
Are you going to do? What sort of awards are you going to do? Do you know, or you're just going to use the ones that we've given, or you've got different ideas?
Yeah, I'm going to use things like that. Yeah, got some ideas to use for different things.
Yeah, and are you doing like them voting on it, or are you just going to do it yourself?
Yeah, I might have one where I'm not sure.
That's all right. Yeah, quite often you put a Survey Monkey out, and then especially when your numbers are growing a bit, like if you just put the Survey Monkey out, have the awards, people do it anonymously, so no one knows what anyone else has done. No one knows who's doing what. That's typically the easiest way to do it.
Yep.
Then
I've already done a couple of surveys too. It's been really handy.
Yeah, that's good. Yes, I mean that's probably the easiest way to do the awards. And figure out who's going to get them with making it really objective. And then what you can do as well, you can do like if you've been keeping track pretty well of attendance and stuff like that, you can give awards for like good attendance and like you can do stuff like that.
Yep.
If you're keeping track of that stuff. And what you can do is you can do like most sessions and stuff like that, but you can also even do one that's like someone said they were going to commit to 2 sessions a week and they came to 2 sessions every single week plus an extra, you know what I mean? Like, so you can do, if you wanted to reward some people, if you've kept the right sort of tracking, you could do little things like that. One of the ones that was we never did this, but I did Sergeant Ken's boot camp course in Canada, and one of the things they did that he reckons was like game changer was they did like colored singlets. So it was like you achieved a certain color singlet for a certain amount of sessions. And and he reckons that was like game changer in regards to like the way the community worked together. But on top of that, not only did they do different colored singlets, it came along with like a specific test that they had to do. So they had to pass a specific level. So they had to have, I don't know, whatever, 50 sessions plus be able to complete this in blah, 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 in 10 minutes time or whatever, or something along those lines. And he said that was game changer in their retention and their growth because, whoop, do we lose you? You still there?
Yeah, I dropped out. Yeah, still here.
All right, what did you get up to?
I dropped out just as you said. Not only did they do different coloured singlets.
Okay, so not only did they do different coloured singlets, they did like a workout. So you had to be able to pass like a baseline workout at that level to achieve the next one. So it might have been, like it's like you got to complete this 10-minute AMRAP twice or 3 times or whatever it is. So like it was also gave them that sense of like working towards the next thing, that sense of achievement, that sense of like, look at me. And then apparently that was, like amazing for them. And they just, they end up people working through the board. He had a venue and the venue they put up like, these people achieved this, these people have achieved this, these people, and they'd go on the wall. But along with the show, and he's like, it just was game changer because everyone just wanted to get like that next level up, like just like you do in martial arts or just like you do in, in these things. It was like rewarding people. So it's another interesting strategy. Not one that we did, but it was like, okay, like it's an interesting sort of approach. So that's it's always good, like always good to hear different approaches from different people because maybe you go like, you know what, I love that idea, and give it a go and implement it or whatever. But yeah, that was one that they did.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just something to think about. And then yeah, party stuff in regards to that, just for anyone who's listening potentially and for yourself, things like as we're heading into the warmer months, things like going to like the barefoot bowls and stuff like that. Great options if you want to do a day thing rather than like a night thing. You know, your local venues, like like going out and having meal or drinks in a local venue. But yeah, the bowls are typically a good one as well. Good bit of fun. You know, it depends on your group. You could do lots of different things. Depends on your group. Yeah, you might have like a super, like out there group and go like, all right, who wants to do paintball? You gonna do paintball, or I mean, you could do anything. You know what I mean? So there's or go karting or any sort of those options that people might want to do as a one-off special thing at the end of the challenge. You can do those sort of things. You know, if you've got go karting, paintball, you know, things that maybe are just a little bit more special than what you might do mid-challenge. You know, mid-challenge, maybe you've gone like to a kickboxing gym or whatever, but you're not going to go, paintballing mid-challenge or, whatever it might be. So just working with your group as well.
Yeah.
Beautiful. And you got anything else you wanted to cover? Any other thoughts?
Oh, actually, re-signing people.
Yeah.
Is there any sort of strategy towards that? Do you have like a certain time that you would look at doing that, or
realistically, I like the idea. I like the approach of doing it before you even start your advertising. So like if you're a 10-week challenge and you're going to start your advertising week 8, realistically, maybe week 7, throwing out that like, hey guys, we're getting towards the end of the challenge. If you want to sign up and get, sign up now, sign up early, like the early bird rate, and get whatever. Maybe you give them, a week or whatever, something free, or like just that incentive to sign up early, where it's like just a link, boom, done. And then after, if they don't take that early option, it just sort of saves you time when it comes to week 9 and 10, where you're doing your phone calls and you're like trying to trace new people. Saves you a bit of that time if you wanted to like automate it in that response. So that's an option as well. Or you just as you get towards the end, hey guys, we're going to roll over to the next one. Are people on direct debit for you?
Yeah.
And are they on like just a week by week thing, or have you got them set up on like a 10-week thing that expires?
The first time I did it, I just had it in at the end of the challenge.
Yeah. So I think realistically, you could change that.
Yeah, that's right. From this point, I'm going to do recurring. I sort of picked that up from, I can't think of the name of the first lady that we had that does Rise and Shine, Leeton.
Yep. Jane.
Yeah, she said she had them on recurring, and they know that she just pauses it during the 2 weeks that they're not on. Yeah, I reckon.
And then it's on them a little bit as well. Like rather than being on them to re-sign, it's on them to like, so that sort of is another thing that I would look at doing.
That's what I did for the people who started halfway. I put them on that, so it's recurring, and I told them, look, at the end of the 6 weeks, if you don't stay on, I'll just cancel it. Otherwise, we just roll on.
Yeah, that's probably the approach as well.
Yep.
Beautiful. What debit are you using? Easy Debit or
Pay Advantage?
Pay Advantage. Yeah, cool. Yeah, cool. Awesome. Sounds good, man. Well, it's been a pleasure. And if you've got any last few things here?
No, there's nothing else I can think of. I think that's
easy.
It.
Well, I think we've got Tash Thursday. I'm going to chase her up today. Last of the 100 Club. I think she was scheduled to be earlier on in the challenge and missed it for whatever reason. And so we've got Tash on Thursday, and then you're coming through to the social media stuff as well, which has been good. You're enjoying that as well?
Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah, beautiful. And then that's about it. I hope you've got a lot out of it, and we'll be hitting you guys up for reviews as well as usual. Practicing what we preach.
Yeah.
All right, man. Well, thank you very much. I'll see you Thursday, unless you're coming to the one in 20 minutes.
20. Yeah, I'll be there.
Yeah, easy. We're going to be talking just bots and discussing some of that stuff again.
Yep.
All right. Easy, mate. Well, I'll see you in a little bit, and thank you for your time, and everyone else. If you're watching on the replay, guys, thanks for the 10 weeks. It's been good.
All right. Thanks, Trav.
See ya.
See ya.